Hi, welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. Today I'm going to be making an apple crumble with a caramel sauce. Today's recipe is a viewer's request and she actually asked for anything apple. So I figured, you know what's so perfect about apples? You could do any recipe with it and it'll turn out amazing. I already got a baked apple crumble on Bonita's Kitchen right now, done with crab apples. But these here are Honeycrisp apples, and I'm just going to slice the top, scoop them out, and stuff them. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next and turn this delicious dessert into something amazing. So what I'll do next is tell you the ingredients we're going to have to make this delicious apple crumble, and then once we get it going, I'll show you what will be next. Our recipe today is a dessert for 4, so you're going to have 4 apples of choice. Today I'm going to be using Honeycrisp. We're going to be using for the crumble, flour, cup of oats, a cup of brown sugar, and half a cup of butter or margarine. Then we're going to be adding in there some sea salt, half a teaspoonful. We're going to be using a teaspoonful of ground cloves, half a teaspoonful of ginger, and a teaspoonful of cinnamon. And for our delicious caramel sauce, we're going to be using 2 tablespoonfuls of butter or margarine, a tablespoonful of vanilla, a cup of brown sugar, and a 1/4 cup of evaporated milk or milk of choice. So let's get started making this delicious meal, or dessert I should say. So now what I'm going to do first, before I even make the crumble, I'm going to cut and prepare our apples. I've already cleaned them, washed them just to make sure that everything is off, of course the label. And then what we're going to do is cut off the top. We need the top after, because that's going to be kind of like a little garnish, a little design. And then scoop out the inside of the apple. So let's get going on that. So you need a sharp knife and watch your fingers. So cut the tops off them. So we'll do that first, and we're going to keep the tops to the side. So I'm going to prepare 4 apples before we scoop them. So I'm going to cut my last apple like that. So what you'll need now is a paring knife, or better still, a coring knife to core the insides. If you got one of those, you could use it, would be better. Unfortunately, I can't find mine today, so I'm going to be using my paring knife. So you pretty much, what we're doing now is going to be taking the core out. So what I'm going to do is remove the core of the 4 apples, and then I'm going to show you what's next. Okay, so I got one already done, and I'm going to be using my melon scooper. It works a little better. I don't know what I did with my coring knife, but it doesn't matter, just as long as you can scoop this core out. So just do it with the melon scooper and just scoop it all out until you got all of the core out of the middle. So this is a delicious recipe. I'm excited to bring this one to you today, and I'm so glad that our viewer requested anything apple. I'm thinking the one that she wanted was apples cut up, seasonings or spices put over it, and then a caramel sauce over the top. But this is going to be equally delicious because we're using a nice crumble topping, and then we're going to have the caramel sauce. It's going to be delicious. So this is pretty much all we're going to do there. You see the inside, all of the core is out, and I got it out of all 4 of the apples. So what we'll do now is make our crumble. Okay, I was just saying to my husband, I think I'll put the tops back onto my apples so they don't brown off, because I got no lemon or lime or anything poured over them to stop them from browning. So just put the lids back on again, which is the pieces you cut off. So what we're going to do now is put all of these ingredients that we're going to be using for our crumble into the bowl and mix it together. Your cup of sugar, and that's brown sugar. Your cup of flour, you could use whatever flour you want to, flour of choice. We're using a cup of oats, and again you can use whatever you want for that. Remember, this is your crumble that you're going to be making, and you want to make it that's enjoyable for you. So we're going to be using a teaspoonful of the ground cloves, half a teaspoonful of the salt. I'm using sea salt, a teaspoonful of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and half a teaspoonful of ginger. Now I love ginger. If you don't like ginger, you could leave it out, but I just find that it gives it that little bit more of a bite. Now I'm going to mix this together and we'll add the butter. And we're also going to be using half a cup of butter, and you could use margarine if that's what you got available. So pretty much what we're going to do now is mix this together. I'm going to use my hand now very shortly, but I'm just going to start pinching off some of the butter into all of these ingredients. And now I'm going to use my hand. So pretty much all I'm doing here now is just mixing this around. If you got a mixing aid, or I guess you could use your hand or you could use your spoon, that's totally fine. But I just want to make sure all the butter is put in through this mixture. Now these crumbles, of course, you can see is going to be more than I need for the 4 apples. But what I'm going to do is toast some off to the side, because I want that as well. So we're going to stuff our apples with the crumbles, and then we're going to have extra for sprinkling over the top. So I'm almost done here now, and I'll show you what's next. So this looks like just what I need, just like this. This is consistency of it. So now what we'll do is start stuffing our apples. So we're moving right along here now with this delicious dessert. So what you'd need is a deep pan to put the 4 apples into, because you don't want them to fall over when they're in the oven, because as they start to bake, you'll see that they'll get nice and soft and juicy on the inside, and the apple might just tilt a little tiny bit. You don't want for it to fall over and to be all into your oven. So we're going to take the tops off, because we don't need this right now. And what we're going to do, we're going to scoop in our crumble mixture into the apples. So pretty what you're going to do here now is start scooping just a nice helping over your apple. So what I did there is take a scoopful, pour it into the center, so you're filling the hole, and then you're going to take it and put it over the top like this. So just scoop on into the middle, fill up the middle, and then take a nice helping and pour over the top. So basically what you're doing here now is you're making, turning this plain old apple into a nice dessert. So you're working on this dessert here now, and this crumble is going to go golden brown, and on the inside, when the apple starts to soften, the juice of that apple is going to go in through that crumble that you put on the inside. So now that's all we need to do with that. Okay, so that's all you need to do with the apples there now before we put it into the oven. But I need a little bit of lemon. Just going to take off a piece here. And for those apple tops, because I'm not going to be putting these in with, I'm not going to be baking these in there. So you're just going to put a little bit of lemon juice over the tops of these, so to keep it from going brown, because we're going to be using these for displaying on the apples when they come out. So they're just going to be sitting on your counter. Then you're going to need a cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper, and we're going to take the remaining of our crumbles and pour into the pan. You just pour all of that into the pan and just smooth it out. And what we're going to do is just toast this. Now this is enough crumble that you could use for another 2 or 3 apples if you want to make more. But I want to have extra, and you could use this on anything. You could use it on your cereal, ice cream, make up a dessert, it doesn't matter. So this is all you got to do with that. Okay, so again, we're moving right along. I hope you're following and you're excited to make this delicious apple crumble. And the caramel sauce we will do after. When we put these into the oven, we'll get making that, and I'll show you what that is. But right now I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. We're going to put the timer on for 30 minutes. You can check it, you know, turn the light on, peek in, see how it's going. If it looks like the apple is bubbling and nice, you want to leave it a bit longer, just let it go through. If your crumbles is toasted enough, pull them out, put them on a safe countertop, but 30 minutes or less. So I'm just going to put my oven on here now and we'll get started. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put my apples in the center rack in the middle of the oven, and the same with these crumbles. I'm going to put them on in the same time, and I'm going to put my timer on for 30 minutes. Again, check them. Just put the light on your oven, check to see, you know, how it's coming along. If you need it in a little bit longer, you can do that. If you need to take it out earlier, you can do that as well, because it all depends what kind of apple you're using or how big they are. Okay, so let's get started now making our delicious caramel sauce. So what we're going to do first is put our 2 tablespoonfuls of butter into a saucepan and our cup of brown sugar. A little bit moist, and let it melt. So as you can see, the brown sugar and the butter is melted. So what you're going to do now is just put in a tablespoonful of vanilla. You're going to stir that around. You're going to turn the heat off, and then we're going to remove our sauce from the damper and add in our milk. After you put the vanilla in, you see that it started to thicken. We're going to be gradually pouring in the 1/4 cup of cream or milk, and just keep mixing it until it's all incorporated and starting to thicken. So that's pretty much all you need to do with the sauce. As you can see, it's got a nice consistency. You can see it there, that's nice. I'm going to put it back onto the damper, only that it's warm, not that it's cooking, just to keep it until our apples is done, because I want to serve this warm, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Welcome back to Bonita's Kitchen, and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to do now is take our baked apples out of the oven, and that's with the crumble on top, and 15 minutes of the apples and the granola in the oven. I took out the granola because I'm saying granola, but the crumble, because any longer than that it would probably burn. So 15 minutes into baking your apples. I turned caramel sauce on low just to warm it, since we got hot caramel sauce to go over the top. So now what I'm going to do is reach for my apples, and we're going to see what they look like. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is reach in here for our baked apples, and they look absolutely delicious, and the smell out of this world. Okay, so I'm going to show you what they look like. Okay, so I'm going to be taking up 2 of these apples. These were 30 minutes in the oven. You could leave them in longer depending on the apple that you're using. This one again is a honey crisp, and it's just 30 minutes and 15 minutes for the crumble itself. So I'm putting it into 2 little cast iron pans here, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this to make this a delightful dessert for 2. Okay, I'm excited for this baked apple crumble because it's so delicious. I'm going to pour my caramel sauce into a bowl. pour it on out. And this is rewarmed, not boiled, because you don't want your caramels to curdle. So that's all you need to do there. Okay, so on top of our delicious Honeycrisp apples, we got a crumble over the top, some extra on the side, which is delicious. Our caramel sauce hot, waiting to go. And I got some vanilla and actually cookies and cream, because that's our favorite. Ice cream that I'm going to put on the side of our 2 dessert pans. And then I'm going to top it with caramel sauce and then douse it with another little bit of the crumble. Just have a look at this. I'm going to take some of the caramel sauce and pour over the apple and of course over the ice cream. Just a nice helping. I know that you probably want more than less, so that's a nice helping there. And then we're going to be putting our top off to the side. So I'm going to be putting another little bit of the crumble just around that ice cream and the apple with a little cherry on top. So now that's what your dessert is going to look like. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe today, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this is as good as it gets. You know, you got your dessert, of course, in a little cast iron pan that you can make anything in, but nice and cold. I let this go cold so as I can put the ice cream in and the sauce over the top. What I'm going to do now is have a taste, tell you what it tastes like. Okay, I want some of the apple, some of the sauce, and a little bit of the ice cream, of course, some of the crumble. I'm actually speechless. That's funny. The apple is still got that little bit of crispness to it, which is great with the crumble. The warmness of the apple, the spices, all of those seasonings in there. The ice cream just giving that cool little taste to your palate. So delicious. I hope our viewer that requested any type of apple dessert, I hope you're pleased with this one. A must do for anyone. I was just telling Raymond that he can't have these yet. He gotta wait until we're finished. But if you enjoyed this recipe and you like to see more of our traditional, non-traditional viewers' requests, my picks and choices that I put out for you to see, visit us on our YouTube channel and subscribe. It's free, and each time we post a new video, it will give you a notification. You can also visit us on our website, www.bonitaskitchen.com. Send us a message on either one of those sites, as well as our Facebook page. We post a lot of different things on there, pictures, up and coming events. We would love for you to come and join us and just have a look at everything we post. So thank you again for our viewers' requests and for all of our viewers' requests. We're trying to get to each and every one of them. So from our kitchen to yours, thank you for joining us, and you have a wonderful day.